So I have my cast on stitches. You will see that the two yarns are together at the pointy end. So I'm going to join in the round, here's my last stitch and my next stitch is over here. So to access that stitch I need to pull all the stitches down onto the cable like so and then count. So I've been asked to cast on 24 stitches, so I've cast on 25 to help me join. I'll lose one in the process of joining. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 is half of 24, and I bring the yarn up through the 12th and 13th stitch, both lots of stitches all the way to the top of the needles. I'm hanging onto the stitches between my thumbs so that it works nicely. Then I'm going to turn it around so that I've got the working yarn in my right hand needle. Now I talk about a little man. He's got his trousers on and he's standing on his head, and his inside leg seam needs to be straight, not twisted around. Make sure they're straight. Here's our yarns here. On this side I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and my extra stitch 13 where the working yarn is. So keep the needles together parallel like that. We're going to put this stitch over here. This extra stitch, I can use a little tool, this little needle here, to help me get that stitch from there to there. Put the 2 down and tighten everything up again with both threads, the tail and the working yarn. Okay, so I'm not yet finished. You can see that I have the extra stitch over here, but we're not yet joined. We have to join. We're never ever going to knit in the round with all the stitches on both needles. Half the stitches will be working and the other half we'll put to sleep on the cable. Now we're going to be working over here, so that means these stitches here need to go to sleep. Again, hang on to the stitches between thumb and finger and then draw this needle up through the stitches so that they go on the cable. Okay, so find the working yarn, not the tag, and I'm going to knit these 2 stitches here together. So remember, I've got an extra stitch. Now that I've knitted those 2 together, no longer have an extra stitch. I have the required number of stitches in the round. And then I'll just go on to knit to the end. That's the only time I have to make an extra stitch. There's no making an extra stitch every time I reset the needles. And I will knit to the end and then we will reset the needles. I'll show you how to do that. For working in the round, this is called a magic loop method. There I have knit half the stitches. So I'm going to always have the front facing me, the right side of the work facing me, never the wrong side. Just put my hands under here. These are going to go to sleep, those stitches, and these stitches here will come up to work. And around we go. They go to sleep and these go to work. My needle's coming apart there. There we go. And I find my yarn. There it is there on this with the sleeping stitches I've just made. And because I'm working in a round, yes, that's my next stitch over there. Okay, the most common mistake in working in the round with any method is to make an extra stitch at this point by wrapping that around the cable there and knitting like so. So just remember to make sure that your working yarn is at the back of all the work and not wrapped around anything before you start the next half of the stitches. Make that stitch. Pull the yarn down tight against my thumb, not out or up, but down against something. Hold it down while you make the next stitch. Then we won't get a ladder at the halfway mark. Okay.